Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm going to be going over the ranking of all the Pokemon TCG YouTubers that play the game, not just collectors, but you'll see the people here. They'll be probably who you expect. And this is not my own personal ranking, this is actually Social Blade's ranking. So this is the rank you want a lower rank, obviously, because that's how rankings work. And then we get all the way up to B tier, so it is kind of in tiers as well, which is kind of fun. And no one in the Pokemon TCG community is actually in the A tier, which is a bit unfortunate. No one's higher than B, no one's B plus or anything. But yeah, it's not just based on subscribers, it's also based on views, upload schedule. I don't know the exact algorithm, but it's interesting, and let's just start. I'll commentate as well on the channels. And so the first one is Chip Ritchie, or Trainer Chip. He's both a member of a podcast and he's a commentator and stuff. Apparently, Social just really doesn't like him. He's a full tier below everyone else. Yeah, that's strange. But then Carabin Control, Joe Thackeray, Carabin 44, one of my favorite content creators, one I just had to include. Unfortunately, he doesn't upload anymore, which I'm really sad about, but awesome GLC and control player. Talonite X is a translator, actually a Japanese player, I believe, but a really solid channel to check out with some early deck showcases. The Shuffle Squad and Friends is a weird channel now. It's the Shuffle Squad's old channel, but they don't upload there anymore. It's kind of strange. And then we have Sleepy GB, the first of the C+ tier channels, which is possibly the biggest group, or maybe B-, I'm not sure. But yeah, just a solid overall channel. Next, Professor Poke, someone else who I'm actually friends with, I've had on my channel once, maybe twice. Solid GLC and general content creator as well. Next up, we have GXC. Honestly, I'm not very familiar with GXC. Ghost X Empire, I believe, is their full name. But yeah, I think that might be a newer channel, or at least one that's coming onto the scene more. Now, TCG Park's a really interesting channel. That's kind of weird. It ran TCG prices, but it's also Tord Recklev's personal channel, or at least that's where he makes content on. Crashblade Gaming is another interesting channel that's a new one, not one I'm super familiar with, but a really solid new channel that you should check out. Jerishon, one of the members of the Metapod podcast. And one of my podcast competitors, but a very solid channel again. And then Ember Power coming in 52nd place. So rounding out the bottom 10. Ember Power, a very cool YouTuber, one that I'm a big fan of, and it's one of my favorite channels. And then for some reason, it gets all funky here, but we will see that the next channel comes up in a second. And that is going to be Justin Basil. So Justin Basil, I imagine many of you know who Justin Basil is. He's one of the runs a website, also has a YouTube channel. Honestly, the YouTube channel is nothing amazing, but an amazing website to check out. Next, Flex Daddy, or Flex Daddy Righteous, a member of the Tag Team podcast. He has relatively stopped uploading, but a big inspiration to me. Vulcan Turtle, I actually featured on this channel. A very solid creator. Makes some kind of interesting decks. Not crazy rogue, but not crazy meta either. Very solid channel. Next up, Delta Seeker. Chances are you've probably seen one of Delta Seeker's videos. They're kind of rogue and kind of weird, but they're really good. They only have a few videos, but they're awesome. Next, Team Fish Knuckles. A bit of an older channel that I'm ashamed to say has fallen off a little bit, but still a really solid one of the OG channels. Next, Jank Play, a very solid one. This is one that I'm not super familiar with either, but a smaller creator on the scene that makes just some very cool content about the game. I think, again, Playscape games, not one I'm super familiar with, unfortunately, but and I don't know if they're newer or if I just haven't heard of them, but they're another cool channel. Now we get to the first secondary channel, Celio 2, Celio's Network's second channel. I honestly don't know what content's on this. I believe it's just like the main channel. Next, Uncommon Fossil, of course. One of my co-hosts for the podcast, the Reasonably Effective Podcast, subscribe to Uncommon Fossil. Now we have Charlie. Charlie TCG is just a very solid channel. Again, one of the generic but super very enjoyable to watch channels that just has good content. Shuckle TCG is a really cool GLC content creator who I don't actually watch, but Shuckle TCG is pretty cool. Is one of the main GLC channels. And then we have Mellow Magikarp. I imagine some of you may know who this is. A member of the Lake of Rage podcast. Has unfortunately stopped uploading for the most part when I last checked, but still. Now we have Glazermon, a really cool channel that honestly, in my opinion, is super underwatched, but super awesome stuff. Doesn't upload a ton, but some really interesting video essays. James CX is another very solid creator who's a strong player. Actually, I believe he coached Dan TDM or something. It was pretty funny, but yeah. Rule Ready, another good player. And French with Little Magikarp, I believe, as well. And just a solid channel with some more competitive side to things. Entertainment, this is another one that I'm not super familiar with, but just a very solid Pokemon channel that's kind of fun. Next up, we have Beware the Terrible. So if you want some, no offense, so the decks are kind of terrible, but they're really funny. Beware the Terrible has so many decks. They're just, you've never seen any of them before. Check them out. I actually have 9-card. And 9-card's another, I'd say one of the, I'm not sure if I call him one of the big channels, but he's certainly up there. A very solid channel, just solid generic content. Steuben, I've heard his name thrown around a lot. I don't know a lot about him either, but I believe he's a member of some of like the, interacted with some of the other top channels. Keldeo Plays is a really interesting channel who unfortunately has stopped posting. They posted PTCGO expanded content, which has since been deleted. Well, not the content, but the game. So that's unfortunate. And I have Woody Rec. I'm not super familiar. This is another one, though I know the top channel. It's not like top, but very solid. Hitmonchanting, I believe, is another GLC focused channel. A really solid channel that I think is definitely worth checking out when that shows up on my radar from time to time. Next up, we have, of course, me, 10 types. I am at 28, so I broke the top 30, which is I'm really happy about. Yeah, subscribe to 10 types, everyone. Next, we have Frosted Caribou. She was one I wasn't sure if I'd put on this list. She doesn't upload very much, and she uploads a lot of collector stuff, but she's still one of the major presences in the TCG community, but she also doesn't have a ton of a ton of uploads, and therefore views. It's a solid chunk. But then we have Azul's VOD channel. This is the first of 3 Azul channels we'll see on here. Yeah, not too much to say. Now we have All Out Blitzel, the first of the B- tier channels. So reaching to the B tier here. Oh, Blitzel, someone I'm a big fan of as well. And yeah, very solid control player. Now we have Azul GG2. I, again, have no idea what's on this channel. I haven't watched, or maybe I have, but it's just more Azul. Uncommon Energy podcast. Wow. So this is Azul GG and Chip Ritchie's podcast together. Obviously much higher than Chip's channel. But yeah, one of the podcasts out there. Bert's PTCG. I did chop off the PTCG if that was on because I just do that. But this is Bert's, aka Hot Chocolate, or the Slowpoke Well, one of the cooler channels around. Then we have Smart TCG, obviously one of the more controversial channels, but a really cool one as well. A strong player and a solid content creator. Next, we have Popsicle Night. Popsicle Night's super awesome. Rogue, but not so rogue that's like garbage. Popsicle Night is the go-to rogue deck channel for me, although there's a few others. In third person is, again, one of those like solid content creators with like a few thousand subscribers, very interesting content, one that you can check out. The Dex Logs is really weird, honestly, and we're in the top 20 now, by the way. The Dex Logs is really cool because it's just like it's by a Yu-Gi-Oh player. It's like a compilation of like top 10 lists. It's kind of unique, but it's interesting, and I like it. Tablemon, I'm sure many of you know Tablemon, whose mascot's the iconic table. He plays competitively, very strong player, and interesting creator as well. He also complains a lot, but it's kind of funny. Trust Your Pilot is going to be one of the live players. That's pretty much his thing. If you like live, check him out. If you don't like live, also check him out. Now, this is Lil Die Fear's second channel. This is just his main channel, but he doesn't do gameplay. He just like talks about stuff. Rare Candy, one of my favorite channels. Again, solid editing. One of the big dogs, in my opinion. Used to have some other people, actually. I'll talk about those. Yeah, there it is. Shuffle Squad. Zach Lesage. Stuff got weird. As I said, the Shuffle Squad, people both shuffling around in terms of the channels, but yeah, another very solid group channel. That's kind of weird as a group channel. Now, Tricky Gym VODs. This is one of the highest channels for the secondary channels. It's VODs for Tricky Gym. Sable Eyes, almost in the top 10 here. The highest Australian, I believe. I don't know. But a really solid channel with some unique content, but just a very good personality and fun stuff. Omnipoke, 2 blokes from Britain or England. I don't know the difference. But yeah, we got Omnipoke with Jack and Joe, just a classic duo. They do Cube, they do stuff. Celios Network, one of the, in my opinion, best channels right now because they're like pushing forward and new ideas. Really solid channel. And then Zapdos, high energy. He's fun. And, you know, he's just like, no, he's good. Classic channel. Also, he kind of fell off. Okay, now we have one of the weirder ones. Balthazar, again, kind of controversial because they literally just repost content. But apparently get views for it and, you know, do what works, right? If you want to watch competitive games, so check that out. Then Dark Intual Gaming, the classic GOAT who retired and then has since come back. Fun content, fun edits, cool stuff. Now, For the Win, breaking that the top 5 here. For the Win is really good. He's one of the better Rogue Deck channels, but still competitive, fun personality, relatable, awesome. Tricky Gym, very much arguably corporate, but very good. The arguably GOAT. Again, most subscribers, very talented. Now we have Azul GG going in at third place here with a bronze medal. Actually, the last person in the C plus tier. Now we have Little Dark Fury. Although Azul is a top player and the best, possibly the best player on this list, but now we have Little Dark Fury, who is a solid player, but a very fun meme deck player. And then last but not least, we have PCG Radio, who I was considering not putting on this list. But yeah, that's what we got. So I don't know. I enjoyed making this video. If you did as well, I'd love it if you subscribed, or if you enjoyed watching, not making. If you enjoyed making this video, then you could also subscribe, certainly. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If there's anyone I missed, I'd love to know that as well. I'm sure I missed someone. I'm sure I missed probably a bunch of people, but I enjoyed making this, and I probably will be uploading this without me as well, because let's be honest, who wants me? Apparently enough people to make me 28th though. But I hope you enjoyed, and as I was excited to see you next time.